Hello, welcome to the Reframing Mindset podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, welcome back to the Reframing Mindset podcast. My name is Constance Brooks, and this episode I talk about and I lost the paid version of the snippets. And that's one of those things where, and for snippets, those are usually the video things that I usually post on the Reframe Mindset Podcast Instagram and Twitter page. If you actually um follow me on those pages and the Facebook page as well. And it's just one of those things where back to one of the previous episode that recognize times of shortage and times of abundance. It's just one of those things where you have to recognize that yes, there become some times where you have to actually just cut back on certain things in the short term to have a more um, long term changes. Because as you may know, as I said, we are coming closer to the end of another year, and this year I've made a lot of progress. And because of that progress, I can actually compound that progress into better opportunities going forward into the next year. So, it's just one of those things where I'll be like, okay, yo, I'm just, I'm not going to be okay saying, oh, boo hoo, I'm sad that I lost the snippets. No, because it's just like an opportunity. One of the episodes that I talk about where certain bad things happening to you to basically force you into the future. It's just one of the things where I just say, okay, it's one of those things as well where I'm actually going to look into, or when I'm in a better position again, I'm looking to revamp the podcast some more, revamp, make it more, even more professional. Because to me, this is not really, it's coming a far away with from the phones I'm doing with a mic and stuff. But there's certain more upgrades as well that I'm actually looking into. Like for example, I've actually created a usually I would post the snippets also on my LinkedIn personal LinkedIn page. What I've actually done, I've actually created a business um, page for the Free Mindset podcast because I'm trying to transition in it to that. So if I'm going to post snippets, it will be most likely to that page going forward instead of the personal, my personal LinkedIn page. My personal LinkedIn page will more to be more career building stuff, things to enhance my career. But the podcasting will be different. The podcasting will be a lot different. But I would not actually post it as yet. What I would actually do is just wait until I'm in a position to actually afford the paid version of the thing again, and then I could actually just don't re-download all those snippets again in the with a paid version of of the software. But but also not only that, maybe so that would be a short term thing. But then in let's say 2025, I could do another revamp again where I could hire a editor to actually maybe do some change to the podcast. So as I said, um, what I realized, doing this work that I did that I'm coming from was that you have to really think about things long term. That business started in 1997, and there's a lot of evolution. There was evolution when I was there, when I was there. So when I think about the podcast as well, there's going to be a lot of evolution as well. And then boom, when this evolution is fully manifested, even when I'm gone, you know, people may be so passionate about the podcast that they just take out mantra and then boom, add on to it without losing this core sense. So that's basically just like science, like people fascinated with science that they actually take up and add more things to our science. Just one of those things where I'd be like, okay, this is just a small phase now of me losing the the snippets. And it just one of those things where episode will be like, okay, you want to do something to make money, but there's certain points in time we're going to actually be not making money. So you have to actually just cut back on certain things to maybe decrease. I may decrease quality in a certain aspect in a short term, but what this episode is to be like, okay, you have to recognize what is. I always recognize what the core thing was about this podcast. The podcast is not really the snippets. It's more of this aspect, the speaking aspect. So that's the quality of the thing that I'm actually trying to upgrade, getting better and better. Because even though what you may realize recently is that you're hearing more podcast episodes during the day, not during the night anymore. But what you may also be hearing is a lot of background things, like you may hear cars and bikes and maybe chickens in the background. So it's not at that stage as yet. The professional feels like the top ones that I usually listen to, like Joe Rogan and stuff. So what would actually be happening is that maybe I have to actually have a certain headquarters as well where I go to record those episodes. I'm not there as yet. I'm not there as yet. So you can't be out here rushing the process. You have to be like, okay, this is my cap now. I had the paid version for a while. It was really of the snippets. That was really good for a time just to introduce me to that new level. And then now that I've been introduced to that new level now, I'll be like, okay, I can't get it now. But now I know that when I'm able to get it again, I know how better to use it. I know how to use it better this time around. So that's yes, that's all you have to really look at. So that's why you do have to look at it. So what basically this episode is about is that I lost the paid version of the snippets, but also this is making it to the end of the year. Ye- there's the podcast is reaching a new phase again, a new phase of revamping, where there's a lot of more things to be done to actually make it more professional, make it a lot more professional. It's coming soon. So yeah, look out 2024. 2024 should be exciting. Should be really exciting. That's basically for this episode. Thank you for listening. I look forward for the next episode. Mhm.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.